In the last year and a half, I have lost many people that I loved, some far too soon. Just in the last month, 3 members of my high school graduating class have passed away. All this an unfortunate consequence of getting older. But 10 weeks ago, my mother, AKA Mama Mia, passed away at the age of 94 and a half. She lived independently and in good health up to her last year. I accept it was her time, but I am having trouble processing it. Looking through photos, I've been wondering about her life. She was born in 1927, just before the Big Depression. Born to Italian immigrants, she was the second of 4 children. The few photos I have seem so bleak. No one smiled for photos. By the time she was a teenager, World War II was in full swing. Most of the stories she told us were butter shortages, drawing lines on the back of her legs because there were no nylon stockings, and attending USO dances where soldiers were aplenty. My sister and I have known by heart the blurb that was under her high school yearbook photo. Rose is a smooth number of our class, and that luscious black hair is something to see. She went to work after high school. I love her style back then, great suits, lots of hair, so beautiful. After the war, she met my dad. I can't believe they were ever this young and adorable. My mother wearing my dad's college sweatshirt. Oh. After they married and started a family, we had what I call a pretty ordinary life. Not until I was an adult did I realize what they were dealing with. They bought a house in the suburbs. Both had grown up in Boston and Cambridge. They worried about mortgage, bills, their kids, brave adult things I didn't appreciate until I was an adult. So many advances in her 94 years. TV, electric refrigeration, air travel, space travel, computers, cell phones, the internet, birth control. I often wonder how many of us wouldn't be here if there had been the pill back then. Sometimes the years seem a big blur. Time seems to pass more quickly than ever. After my dad passed away 18 years ago, she bravely carried on. Sold the big house, moved to an apartment where she enjoyed her life immensely. She was active in her church, in the community. She had many friends. She loved her family unconditionally. She was a woman of great faith and had a forgiving heart. She was a determined soul and lived life on her terms. She even had her entire funeral service planned out and paid for long before her death. She savored the moments as they came. My head knows she is gone, but my heart is still a bit in denial. Her last year was spent in assisted living. She was happy there. She was treated well. It was kind of sad to watch her starting to fade, but we had lots of talks about lots of great memories. She had endured the loss of so many of her wonderful friends and many of her siblings. She took up painting, and one of the greatest joys I have is that she created this painting for me this past Christmas, and I'm so happy that I have it. This is the last photograph we have of the 3 of us together shortly before my mother passed. Thanks for sharing my trip down memory lane. And if your mother is still alive, give her a big hug for me.